Andre is in decent spirits, but his stomach keeps growling. Based on previous contestants, they would have found some food by this point. It's impossible for everyone to starve clearly. The production team's arrangements are problematic. No one can catch fish despite having bows and arrows, and they lack the energy to hunt or explore. Waiting for prey to come to them is even less likely. Their bodies grow weaker by the day, and Andre is considering going home. By day 7 of the challenge, Michael is in extremely low spirits, with no desire to continue. He feels it would be better to go home early and rest. He's torn about what to do. Giving up now feels unsatisfying, leaving him deeply anxious. David faces the same dilemma. He hasn't spotted any prey, as if they've all migrated elsewhere. While there are edible plants around, they aren't enough to fill his stomach. Suddenly, a large bird flies by, but David is too engrossed in chewing grass to notice. He only mutters to himself on camera, showing off his damn charm. Perhaps the bird couldn't stand it anymore and made a warning sound, finally catching David's attention. But without his bow and arrows, he can only watch helplessly as the potential meal remains just out of reach. This is the closest he's gotten to food yet. He quickly retrieves his bow and arrows, taking aim while the bird lingers, seemingly admiring the scenery. To avoid losing the arrow in the water, David maneuvers to the side, closing the distance. Though the bird spots him, it doesn't flee, almost as if mocking him. Furious, David fires 2 arrows, both missing. The bird still doesn't leave. Determined, he takes a third shot, and finally, success. The relief and excitement overwhelm him. He's secured food at last. Meanwhile, Andre enjoys the environment, appreciating the scenery he rarely gets to see. He muses that if this area were developed into a tourist spot, he'd bring his family here. By chance, he finds a discarded bottle, a treasure in the wild for storing water. As temperatures drop, he plans to build a fireplace. But the bigger issue remains: no meat. The lack of food is driving him mad. Cree vents on camera, accusing the production team of cruelty for placing him in wolf territory. He fears becoming bones and dung, especially after spotting bear tracks. A single swipe could be fatal. Andre considers lighting a fire at night, but the damp materials make it difficult. Even with a lighter, it takes time to get the flames going. He keeps feeding the fire and blowing on it to warm the shelter. He isn't ready to quit yet, sitting by the fire and strategizing. Fishing seems more viable than hunting now. He hopes for a big catch soon. So far, only David has managed to get food. The long-awaited scent of meat excites him. He carefully slices the breast meat to pan fry, simmering the rest in a pot. Without any seasoning, the aroma alone is intoxicating. Once cooked, he savors it at medium rare to preserve the juices, marveling at the rich flavor. He can't stop praising it. This is what survival shows should showcase. With careful rationing, this meal could last a week. If the others still have nothing, David might just win this challenge. The challenge reached day 8. Michael woke up and immediately called the production crew. He simply couldn't continue the challenge any longer. These were the loneliest days he'd ever experienced. He'd rather return to his company and resume work. At least he could bargain with clients every day. Even coming home to cold leftovers after overtime was better than his current state of poor meals and sleepless nights, with no one to talk to. He wondered how others persisted, but he'd had enough of this life. Frankly, it wouldn't be surprising if anyone quit now, since there hadn't been any highlight moments anyway. Michael assumed other contestants must be strong. He might be the first to give up and go home. Turns out he overestimated them. This season's competitors are equally matched, with no clear frontrunner for the prize. David's probably the best among them, but even that goose won't last forever. If food becomes scarce later, others might quit too. David, however, remains in high spirits. Armed with his bow, he scouts for prey. Since bagging the goose, he's become unbearably cocky, venturing into new territories, and even talking about confronting a black bear. Is he planning to duel it with arrows? To lure the bear out, he soaked his clothes in water and stripped bare. That pale flesh should be irresistible. He lounged recklessly, waiting, his bow discarded somewhere. If the bear appears, he's done for. David didn't wait for the bear. He decided to expand his search radius. His shelter doesn't need major upgrades either, just enough to prevent midnight chills. While moving logs, one dropped on his foot. Luckily, it only hurt briefly, without bone damage. He plans to add waterproof tarps to the shelter, to expand resting space. The setup isn't overly difficult, just time and labor intensive. He finished before dusk, with walls to be reinforced later. Winter nights won't freeze him awake now. David's mood keeps improving. He's growing excited for coming days. The challenge reached day 9. Martin took his fishing rod to the lake. The prolonged meat deprivation made weakness increasingly apparent. Still, he pushed to explore new spots. One successful catch would make all hardships worthwhile. He soon reached a promising area that seemed better than previous locations. His handcrafted rod lacks professional-grade strength, but psychologically, it's more rewarding. Only true anglers Understand this rod's sentimental value. After the challenge, he might leave everything else, but this rod's coming home as a trophy, a rarity few possess. The cast performed better than expected, but no fish approached. Just as he anticipated starvation, a headless fish appeared nearby, clearly a bear's leftover. The bloodstains were fresh. His first thought, if bears fish here, so can I. Zero concern about bear attacks. Instead, he grew exhilarated. That bear's picky anyway. Only ate the choicest fish head, leaving the meat for Martin. Even better, there were fish eggs. Happiness comes simply. He couldn't wait to cook his prize. David's catch was smaller, but self-caught. His champion potential grows, though he can't identify the species. It looked safe enough. He hurriedly cleaned it, using inedible parts as bait. Maintaining this rhythm, he'll easily last the month. Cree wasn't as fortunate. Hunger pangs intensified. His initial energy faded fast. He felt close to quitting. Barring miracles, Cree's likely heading home. Day 10 of the challenge. 6 contestants remain in the competition. Martin feels he's doing well. Having enjoyed salmon soup just yesterday, his stomach is comfortably full, and his energy levels are high. With no immediate concerns about hunger for the next 2 to 3 days, he sets out to construct an oven for easier fish preparation in the future. His growing confidence in the challenge motivates him to immediately begin gathering materials. The construction proves simpler than anticipated. After arranging a stone base, he places a salvaged metal bucket atop it, creating an efficient flame control system. With sufficient food supplies, this could practically function as a barbecue stand, he observes. To optimize combustion, he proceeds to build a suspended rack. Day 11 of the challenge. David arrives at the fishing spot to find the tides working against him. The prime locations are completely submerged. Am I really confined to this spot? Refusing to accept the limitation, he ventures further and discovers starfish in the water. While unappetizing, they might at least aid digestion. As rain begins falling again, he processes the starfish before retreating to shelter. The edible portion proves minimal, mostly inedible organs. Snails would at least smell better, he muses, concerned about potential illness from consuming the starfish. Ultimately, he abandons the idea altogether. Meanwhile, Falk finds the rainy weather agreeable. The shelter provides adequate rest, though the absence of digital entertainment leaves him feeling somewhat empty. Redirecting his focus, he begins crafting a crab trap. Transforming nets into cords, he processes wood into 4 lengths, 2 long, 2 short, and assembles them into a frame. After savoring some hot soup, rich with natural aromas, he weaves the cords into nets. Will this actually catch crabs? Falk remains optimistic, preferably larger specimens to satisfy his persistent hunger. While the prototype requires refinement, his growling stomach demands immediate action. Day 12 of the challenge. Cree prepares materials for a bird trap, stacking components in careful sequence. The structure's simplicity belies its effectiveness. The crucial mechanism must instantly ensnare any bird touching the bait. Testing confirms its sensitivity. Now everything depends on the bait's appeal. Concealed within jungle foliage, the trap stands ready, its creator anticipating the mouth-watering aroma of roasted meat. Falk dedicates the day to fishing, opting for a perilous but time-saving shortcut to the shore. Initial optimism fades when his bait mysteriously disappears on the first cast. Switching to artificial lures yields sudden success. A firm tug on the line. Reeling in, his catch sparks excitement. Fortune's finally turning. Subsequent casts prove equally fruitful at this productive spot. Gathering additional seafood for variety, he momentarily imagines enjoying the view with his meal. Were camping feasible here? Andre's experience contrasts sharply. Limited to seaweed and crabs, he longs for proper fish. Though unappetizing, his cooked rations appear passable, their flavor defying description, but providing necessary sustenance. The unexpected discovery of minuscule fish within the mix evokes emotional relief at the fleeting taste of meat. Yet the meager portion only accentuates his hunger, each bite seemingly intensifying the void in his stomach. Falk establishes a new campsite, preparing to cook his meals there. The living conditions prove more manageable than expected. With just a few snaps, he successfully ignites a fire. The pot contains simple ingredients requiring no additional seasoning. Slow simmering will suffice. Moving to the shoreline to enjoy the view, Falk finds the meal tastes better against this backdrop. Breaking open the starfish, he discovers its flavor isn't as unpleasant as anticipated, perhaps improved by cooking with fish. The overall meal satisfies him thoroughly. This is what wilderness survival should feel like, he reflects. Yet nostalgia surfaces. At this hour, I'd usually take walks with my wife. The solitude weighs on him. Meanwhile, Marcus wakes to a transformed environment. Frost-clad vegetation sparkles as temperatures rise, the melting ice heralding spring-like warmth. If only food would fly into my mouth, he muses, lethargically basking in sunlight. Thoughts of family intrude. Their dining table must be far more abundant. The comparison stings. His daily ritual of collecting shoreline stones as time markers underscores the unprecedented separation from loved ones. If only other contestants would quit early. He fantasizes about bringing the prize home. Falk's situation deteriorates overnight. Vomiting and diarrhea leave him with lingering abdominal pain. Medical staff arrive promptly. Yesterday's feast, starfish or side dishes, comes under scrutiny. Examination reveals food poisoning, though no severe symptoms manifest. While cleared to continue, his spirits dim. Maybe it's time to consider going home, he concedes. Day 14 of the challenge. Marcus explores receding waters, improvising a fishing rod from driftwood. No sooner does he set it down than a fish leaps onto shore, an unanticipated bounty. As flames crisp the catch, its aroma overwhelms him with both hunger and homesickness. David struggles with his handmade rod's limited casting range. After fruitless attempts across multiple spots, exhaustion sets in. Hunting larger game might solve this, he considers, craving sustained sustenance. Cree crafts a wooden fish decoy, attaching hooks and line for an experimental fishing method. Crosswinds challenge accuracy, but patience might yield results. Instead of fish, he scavenges a crab nearby, a modest but welcome alternative. Now to find something to complement this, he ponders, eyeing the horizon. Day 15 of the challenge. Martin arrives at his usual fishing spot, hoping to catch salmon again. He experiments with a heavy-duty lure, the largest hook wrapped with copper wire for added weight. The swaying motion when tugged should attract fish. Confident in this strategy, he casts his line. The receding water level allows better observation of fish movements. The artificial lure outperforms expectations. Within moments, a fish bites. Elated, Martin envisions sustaining himself for months with such success. This might be my biggest catch yet, he notes. Survival isn't just about endurance, he realizes, but clever tactics to improve efficiency. His excitement surges when another, even larger fish strikes immediately after recasting. Beaming with triumph, Martin feels victory is assured. Meanwhile, Andre inspects his stockpile of dried starfish. Despite their unappealing taste, he prepares them dutifully. The foul odor tests his limits, but hunger prevails. David battles isolation. Though capable at foraging, the solitude weighs heavily. His only conversations are monologues to cameras. I might snap soon, he admits, yearning to quit. Cree cooks a minimalist crab soup, moved by its simplicity. The challenge has taught resilience, but loneliness overwhelms him. How do veterans last hundreds of days? He wonders, emotionally drained. Day 16 of the challenge. 6 contestants remain. At dawn, David collects snails, a reliable but meager food source. If only I could trade these for fish, he muses, shivering as temperatures drop. Marcus endures thick fog that blocks sunlight. Flipping through family photos briefly eases his homesickness. Martin tests his smoking oven. A misplaced mesh nearly causes a fire, but he salvages part of the fish, some charred beyond edibility. The close call rattles him, though the successfully smoked portion offers slight comfort. At least I have reserves, he mutters, gathering more materials warily. Day 17 of the challenge. David finds the challenge increasingly frustrating. Despite his expertise as a survival instructor, his hunting attempts remain unsuccessful. Hunger gnaws at him, a far cry from his usual confident demonstrations. The thought of students witnessing his struggles worries him. Fishing seems a better option now, though the 2 fish he caught earlier barely made a dent. The promised abundant resources feel like empty words. Perhaps exploring new areas could yield better results. Martin plans to capitalize on rising temperatures to catch more active fish. With luck, he'll stockpile enough to relax in camp, the ideal scenario. Yet when the time comes, he hesitates, opting to enjoy his reserves instead. A leisurely bath in the water feels more like vacation than survival. His mood soars as he basks in the sun, content to do nothing. David's spirits lift slightly while observing ducks at high tide, prime hunting opportunities. He studies their patterns meticulously, bow at the ready. Hours pass with no success, testing his patience. Nearby, snails provide backup, but fresh meat remains the goal. Just as he considers giving up, the ducks reappear, reigniting his determination. One successful hunt could sustain me for days, he thinks. Marcus works tirelessly to improve his living conditions, though homesickness plagues him. Daily photo sessions offer fleeting comfort. Veteran viewers recognize the signs such behavior often precedes withdrawal. His struggles worsen when a massive bear appears nearby. The potential bounty excites him, but the safe distance keeps him from acting. Cree battles, freezing conditions, scrambling for dry firewood. Exhaustion mounts as birds taunt him from unreachable heights. Memories of family overwhelm him, tears spilling unchecked. The isolation proves unbearable. Sunlight offers little solace as his resolve crumbles. The prize money seems distant compared to this unrelenting loneliness. Day 18 of the challenge. Falk appears to be holding up reasonably well, though his stomach growls persistently with hunger. Taking advantage of the sunlight, he returns to his familiar fishing spot. Following routine, he casts his hook into the water. A bite comes almost immediately. While the fish is rather small, any meat is better than none. After persistent effort, Falk's haul proves substantial enough to satisfy his hunger. With careful rationing, the food should last. The relief is palpable, as he sets the catch aside temporarily to enjoy the scenery. His mood lifts effortlessly. He wishes such days could last. When it's time to retrieve the fish, disaster strikes. The catch has vanished inexplicably. Falk recalls placing it precisely there, only for some creature to steal it. Frustration boils over. Had he known, he would have eaten it immediately. Regret washes over him. Meanwhile, Andre devises a labor-saving method for chopping firewood by constructing support poles. Yet his enthusiasm for the challenge wanes daily. The prize money tempts him, but the toll of isolation and hunger outweighs its allure. Even with fish every day, nothing changes. He muses bitterly. Staring blankly at the shoreline, his defeated expression hints at imminent withdrawal. Cree, recognizing his inability to endure loneliness, decisively quits. 18 days alone in the wilderness marks a commendable experience. Though physically capable of continuing, mental exhaustion prevails. Production crews arrive promptly. His departure surprises no one. Repeated on-camera breakdowns had foreshadowed it. Marcus focuses on trapping fish with baited cages. Placement complete. He waits anxiously. While not starving, nutritional deficits worry him. Muscle loss threatens collapse. Day 19 of the challenge. Andre encounters an unexpected black bear that dislodges his quiver. The close call terrifies him. Had it been his head, the outcome would have been fatal. Bear tracks surrounding his camp amplify his fear. David gathers clams, though the caloric payoff barely offsets the effort. The activity merely staves off boredom. During a routine checkup, Marcus's weight loss appears manageable, but emotional instability surfaces. After confessing his overwhelming homesickness, he withdraws. Family outweighs any prize, he declares. Production staff express surprise. Past contestants lasted months. With Marcus gone, only 4 remain. Day 21 of the challenge. Falk nears completion of his crab trap. Even one crab would count as success, he thinks. Still haunted by the mysterious disappearance of his 5 fish, had half remained, at least some meat would have been salvaged. He hurries to finalize the trap, widening its entrance to maximize catches. The vision of seafood soup keeps him motivated. After meticulous preparation, he deploys it underwater, bracing for the weight. Martin surveys the darkening skies with unease. Rising water levels could scatter the salmon, rendering his fishing spot useless. His frustration mounts as the river swells rapidly, the current too fierce for angling. Despite knowing the odds, he casts anyway. The result proves predictably futile. A rotting fish carcass on shore offers grim irony. Though most of the flesh reeks, he carves out a marginally fresher portion. Back at camp, he roasts it cautiously, prepared to induce vomiting if necessary. Andre battles worsening back pain, each movement like muscles being torn apart. Yet he refuses to quit, even fetching water through the agony. Day 22 of the challenge. 4 contestants remain. Andre's misery compounds as torrential rain hits. Forced to secure his camp, he prays his rations last. Martin, unfazed, treats the storm as a respite. His shelter holds firm. No leaks, proper smoke ventilation, and even an emergency exit against bears. Water-filled gloves double as storage, showcasing his ingenuity. Falk's optimism crumbles when rising waters claim his untested crab trap. The severed rope dashes hopes of retrieval. Day 23 of the challenge. Martin's hunger gnaws relentlessly. Water staves off despair, but edible roots seem his only option. Soaked clothing in this weather risks hypothermia, a gamble he won't take. How much longer can this last? He wonders, staring at his barren surroundings. Day 24 of the challenge. David watches the rain outside with frustration, confined to his shelter with nothing to do. The cold weather makes his thick sweater a blessing, but boredom drives him to craft a fishing net. The weaving process isn't overly difficult, just repetitive and patience testing. He aims for uniform gaps, though the result looks questionable. If I just place it in the water, fish will eventually swim into it, he reasons. The real uncertainty is when the rain will stop. His dwindling food supply fuels his irritation. If only the show allowed proper gear, he grumbles. At this pace, finishing today seems unlikely. Meanwhile, Andre's condition deteriorates. Trapped in his shelter, the isolation weighs heavily. Hours pass by the fire, a far cry from the life he envisioned. A brief walk in the lighter rain offers no relief, only frustrated shouts into the void. His search for crabs proves mildly successful. Though small, their numbers suggest a modest soup. Seafood's lingering aftertaste disgusts him, but hunger overrides preference. Each forced swallow deepens his melancholy. Memories of family amplify his despair. How much longer can I endure this? He wonders, his resolve visibly crumbling. Martin, in contrast, embraces idleness with inexplicable cheer. Grinning at the camera, he lounges indoors, postponing fishing for clearer skies. While others dread loneliness, he thrives in it, though dwindling rations nag at him. With enough body fat and optimism, he muses, I'll last the month.